Hey everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel and thanks so much for visiting. I have a fun video for you tonight. Whippersnapper released my latest clear stamps today, and I have the stamp sets available to share with you, and I have some cards that I made too. So let's go ahead and get started and take a look at the new stamps. The first one is Saint Nick, and I love this set. Of course, Saint Nick is done in a primitive style drawing, which, you know, is one of my favorite styles. And he's got a bell on his hat. He's got sprigs and holly in his hat. He's got a gingerbread and some sprigs of berries and a candy cane in his pocket. And he's got cute little boots on. He's got a heart stitched on the front of his jacket there, and I think he's just cute as can be. There is a block of text in here that you can use as a background interest. It's not something you would necessarily use as a sentiment, just as interest in the background. And then there's this little 25 medallion that you can use. And this medallion, if you have a 3/4 inch circle punch in your stash or a 3/4 inch die, that will cut out this medallion perfectly. There is this greenery sprig that you can use, as well as a prim star with a button stitched in the middle. And then the sentiment, Merry Christmas, I wrote and then added little dots to each of the ends of the letter legs. So that's a really fun primitive style font. So that's my first set, Saint Nick, and I had so much fun making cards with him, which you'll see. The second set is this one. It's called Get Well Bug, and it features this great big bug caught in a jar, and the jar has a cork top. There is a little companion bug that kind of looks like a happy mosquito. And then there's a trail that you can stamp behind the flying bug, or you can use it as a detail under a sentiment. You could use it as background interest on the background of your card or tag. And then there's the sentiment, Get Well Soon. And then at the bottom here is another sentiment, Heard You Caught a Bug. And I left this one split so that if you wanted to do it side by side, you could in a single line, or you can stack them, or you can use Heard You on the outside of your card and Caught a Bug on the inside. So lots of options there with the sentiments being split like that. So that is the second set. It is Get Well Bug, and these two sets are both 4x4 inch stamp sets. So to give you a perspective of size, the jar is about 3 1/8 inches tall and about 1/4 inch wide, so about 2 1/4 inches wide. And I don't know if I have it really, here we go. So here's the width of the jar. So just a little over 2 1/4 inches. And then Santa is 3 5/8 inches tall and 2 inches wide at his widest point. So just to give you a perspective on size. So these are 4x4 inch sets. And then this set is a 5 1/2 inch single stamp, and it's called Messy Ledger, and I love this. So when I drew out the ledger, I added numbers down both the left and right sides. Of course, drew all the ledger lines, and then I distressed the heck out of it. I erased some of the lines. I added smushes, and dots, and dashes, and bigger smushes. So if you stamp this on your background, it does all the work for you. There's like no extra stuff that you need to do. And this is a really fun stamp, and I'm so happy to have it. What I found when I was using it was, I'll open mine. So here's the one I've been using, you can tell. So when I took it out of the package, what I did, I left it on the sheet that has the printed sticker on it and just removed the backing piece, and this is revealing the stamp side. And this is extra heavy carrier, so it does a really nice job of keeping it nice and flat. And then I inked up the stamp, and then I actually placed my cardstock. See if I can find some. I placed my cardstock once the stamp was inked, you know, just on the stamp itself, or laid it down like this and, you know, smushed the cardstock all into the ink. So that way I could lay the stamp flat, didn't have to hold it in my hands. I didn't have to mount it on an acrylic block, anything like that. Then I was able to really simply clean my stamp, and I used some red ink on here, which stained it a little bit, and then put the carrier sheet right back on, and it's great to go right back in the storage envelope. So just a little tip for you. Those large stamps like that are really easy to use if you just ink them and leave them face up, ink side up. All right. Also, I have one more stamp set to share with you, and it's available online. I don't have it in my hands right now, but it is available for purchase on the Whippersnapper website. So here I am at the whippersnapperdesigns.com website, and I go to rubber stamps, go to limited edition photopolymer stamp sets by Anna Wight, and then here are the acrylic stamp sets, the photopolymer stamp sets that are available from Whippersnapper by me. So here are the sets that are releasing today: the Get Well Bug, the Messy Ledger, and then Saint Nick. And then the fourth set that's releasing today is Winter Coffee. And so when I get this set in my hands, of course, I'll make some samples for you, but I wanted to share it with you today anyway. So it comes with a coffee cup that has a sleeve on it. And the snowflake design that is in the middle of the sleeve is a separate stamp. So when you get your sets, this will actually be a separate stamp. There's a sentiment that says, wishing you a season filled with caffeine. And then, of course, the 3 different stamps here on the side all fit within the coffee sleeve itself. And so does the sentiment. So when this set comes in the mail to me, I'll make some samples and show you what I would want to do with this particular set. And like the other small sets, this one is also 4x4. So more details on that to come when it arrives. So let's start taking a look at some of the samples that I made. We'll start with the bug. Let's see. So the first card I have to share with you has been watercolored. I stamped him on watercolor paper that I added just a little bit of vintage photo ink to just kind of age the watercolor paper a little bit. And then, of course, I painted him with watercolor paints. I did add some shimmery watercolor to his wings and to the highlights on the jar. And so I think that turned out really fun. In the background there, you can see that I stamped the ledger. And then I also stamped some of the bee trail lines on it as well, just for a little something extra. And of course, there's glitter everywhere. Everything got glitter. I did add a little strip of black cardstock here, and I did set a brad on this one, just so it had a little something extra on this card. So I think this turned out really cute. I love watercoloring this image. It was so fun to color these bugs. On the inside, I dressed the inside of this one up a lot. Heard you caught a bug, get well soon. And then I, of course, stamped the bug and added a couple little bee trails there. And then on the back, I just did a little trail and signed my name. So really easy. And this was a fun card to make because I love watercoloring, of course. So the next card I have to share with you is also watercolored and no brown at all. Well, except for the cork, of course, but no distressing like in the previous one. So this one I left more white and bright, but it is also watercolored on watercolor paper. And I just love him in yellow. I think he's so cute in yellow. I left the highlights on the jar just blank. I didn't actually paint them at all, so it left them a brighter white than the jar, which I painted kind of a purpley blue. And of course, this card got splattered with glitter too, which you know I love. Love me some sparkle. On the inside of this one, I stamped Heard You Caught a Bug, and of course stamped another bug and colored him all cheery in yellow. And then I stamped another bug. Isn't he cute in purple? I love this one. And then added the trail and signed my name. So there's the second card. These two were both watercolored. And then I wanted to do a couple that were colored with alcohol markers and colored pencil. So here's the first one. So he's stamped on just white cardstock and colored with alcohol markers, and then I added all the details with colored pencil. And then I also painted on some shimmer watercolor on his wings and then on the highlights of the jar. So these have a little bit of sparkle as well. I think that turned out really fun. I don't know if you can see the glitter. I can't really see it in the camera, so. And then Heard You Caught a Bug on the front, and then on the inside, I used the bug in green. I love it in this chartreuse green color. And then, of course, the trail and Get Well Soon. So I think this bug is so cute. I think I want to do a card front with all different colored bugs. I think that's going to be my next project. So I think that'd be cute. And then on the back, I colored him orange. Because why not? The papers here are from some of my collection, my paper collections. I used some of the Halloween papers. I think I used the star and maybe some of this pink stripe. And then I also used this chartreuse green and this yellow from the Monster Colors collection. And then I also used this orange dot here from the Back to School collection on some of my cards. So those are the, when you see pattern paper, those are the 3 collections that I used. So I think he's so fun. And then the last bug card I have for you is this one. And I just really loved the watercolor one in orange or yellow. So I did that color again, but instead of doing it in watercolor, I did it with alcohol markers and color pencil. So you can see the difference here. I think he is hysterical. This one's eyes are really crazy. I used 3 different pattern papers in the background. Of course, added the sentiment there. And on the inside, I stamped the bug in gray ink and colored it with colored pencil. And then because I felt like I lost some of the details in it, I just used a really fine marker to add some of the details back in black. So I won't be stamping him in black or in a gray again unless I'm not necessarily coloring with it as bright of colors, because it just lost the detail. So I had to draw some of it back in there. And then here he is stamped in black, and I think that looks so much better. So I love the pop of purple on this guy. So those are my 4 Get Well Soon Caught a Bug cards to share with you. And I think they're so fun and cheerful, and I think would bring anybody joy when they were sick. So let's set these aside and let's take a look at some of my St. Nick cards, because I think they are so fun, and I've got a whole handful here to share with you. So my first card, I was actually inspired by projects I did last year, which was this little note card set. And I made dozens of these things this size. This is 3.5 inches square. And this size was so fun to make. So I wanted to do something similar. So I stamped Santa, St. Nick, on some watercolor paper. And this card is 3 3/4 inches square. And so you can see he's stamped on a slightly smaller panel, of course. I distressed the edges with Vintage Photo, Distress ink and Oxide ink. And here you can see the 25 medallion from the stamp set. The text here is from the stamp set too. That's that text block in the upper corner. I also used that text block over here and up here and down here. And then when I spritzed it with water, it kind of went a little crazy. And then I distressed it some more, so it kind of got lost a little bit. But I still think it looks really fun. I also used the greenery sprig to stamp over here and over here. And then, of course, added the sentiment. Here's another 25 down here, stamped in red ink that kind of matches the paper. And then, of course, I stamped the ledger on this card as well. So that's the background. And then the other stamp that I used on this project that is not from the set is this one here. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I've been using this stamp for a long time now. And it's just one of my favorites and is always sitting on my desk now. So I did use that on here too. But everything else on here is either the ledger stamp or from the St. Nick set. Merry Christmas here at the bottom. The inside is blank yet, and then the back is blank yet. So need to finish this one up, but I think that's really cute. So that'll be fun to send to somebody. And then I made a slightly larger one. So on this one, I didn't want the heart on the pocket to show at all when I stamped the image, but this one I wanted it to show. So I had to make a slightly larger square. So this one is 4.25 inches square. And you can see it's, you know, basically the same thing, just slightly larger. So Santa's coat is painted in burnt sienna and yellow ochre, and I think this is my favorite color combo for his coat. I just love it. The ginger has cute bright pink cheeks, and I just think he looks really handsome in this color. So you can see all the same things in the background as the messy ledger, Merry Christmas down here. Again, I used this same postage mark stamp on the card, over here on the side, over here on the left side, and then top and bottom. But other than that, everything else came from the set. So I think this one is blank on the inside too. Yeah, but I think I stamped a ledger on the back. So you can see it does all the work for you. I love that. I think it looks so neat. All right, so that's my second card. I'll pull those down so you can see them. And then the third card I have to share with you is this one. It was also watercolored, and I love the color of the coat so much I wanted to do it again. So this time I stamped all of St. Nick on the watercolor panel and used the text block to add some interest here in the background, also on his coat and down here in the corner. And to make sure that the text didn't go outside of his coat, I actually created a mask and placed it on him so that the text wouldn't go outside the lines of his coat. So that's how I did that. It's kind of like a reverse mask. And what else? He is watercolored. He is distressed. He has a splattering of shimmery champagne gold watercolor paint on him, which you can probably see. And he's just gorgeous. I love him. I use the messy ledger in the background, and then every so often I stamped either the star or the 25 medallion just around the outside perimeter of the card. So that's it. So fun. On the inside of this guy, I stamped Merry Christmas with the puffy heart, or I don't know why I keep calling that a heart. It's a star. The 25 icon on the back with some of the text from the text block, and then of course signed my name. So I love this card. This one might be my favorite. So when I colored the gingerbread, to add the pink cheeks, I used a pink colored pencil after the paper was dry. I just went back in with a little colored pencil and added a little bit of cheeks to the ginger. The Santa, his cheeks are painted, but the gingers are done with pencil. So there's that guy. So they are so fun. Here's another one that I made, and I made his coat country red. So very similar to the first one. This guy has a lot of that metallic watercolor splattered on him. Here you can see where I punched out the 25 medallion using my 3/4 inch circle punch, so you can see how perfect that punches it out. And then I painted the outside edges of the circle with gold watercolor paint, so it kind of looks like it has gold embossing around the outside edge there. And then I popped it up on a foam dot and then added it over the top of my bow. Here you can see where I tore the watercolor paper. I added some text paper behind. That was actually done by just stamping the text block from the stamp on some regular paper and then just adhering it to the back of the watercolor paper. And it actually just makes it look like it's a piece of book paper. But it's actually done using the stamp, the text stamp from the set. So this stamp here. So that's what that is. And that's the same stamp that I used here and here and here and here and here, you know, all the places. So I think St. Nick is so cute. I love him. Merry Christmas and the sprig of greenery and the star on the inside. And then the inside of this card got really splattered with that gold metallic paint. So I went a little crazy with this one. And then on the back, I stamped the star, signed my name, and I think I had some ink smudge on here that I wanted to hide, and so I just stamped the text block every so often. So that's that card. So I love that one too. This guy's still my favorite though. Love him. But then there's this guy, and he has a green coat, and I think he's so handsome in green. He has a brown hat. He has a gold bell on his hat, and he is stamped on watercolor paper and painted as well. So here you can see where I added that text and added some distressing using paint with just splattering it with brown dots. And to cover up his face and beard so that he didn't get paint splatters on his face, I cut a piece of my masking paper and just laid it over his beard and his face so that none of the splatters would get on his face. I didn't mind if it got anywhere else, but I didn't want it on his beard or face. And then on this side of the watercolor paper, I added this really beautiful piece of champagne glitter cardstock. I love that color. It's my favorite glitter cardstock. I hoard it, so I use it very sparingly. This is Messy Ledger stamped in the background. The only thing extra that I did to it is I stamped the 25 medallion and I stamped Merry Christmas. So you can see all the distressing that stamp does for you. I just love it. So that's the green Santa. I think the inside's empty, yeah. And then the back, I stamped the ledger again, and then the green sprig and signed my name. So isn't that ledger fun? I love using it. All right, so I'm gonna put him over here. And then I have a couple more cards to share with you. These cards are not my favorite, just because I did some heat embossing and I don't like how thick it made the black lines. So I'll show you this one first so you can see how much thicker the lines look. And that's just because I did heat embossing. And so I think I either need some finer embossing powder or I just need to stick to stamping and be done with it. So this guy was heat embossed in black, and then I colored him with colored pencil. And I do like the coloring. I think that turned out really nice. On this card, instead of using browns for the backgrounds, I used gray to go more with the cooler blue. And so once I had the Messy Ledger stamped on the background cardstock, I also stamped that little text block every so often, and that was all the stamping I did to the background. And then for him, for his background, I did the ledger around the outside edges and then stamped the text block on either side of him. But I do like the coloring. I colored that image with colored pencil, so, and nothing else. And then on the inside, I decided to stamp Merry Christmas in burgundy. And then on the back, I stamped the greenery and signed my name. So that's that card. That's not my favorite. I'll put him here. And then this last card I have to share with you was also heat embossed. Again, not my favorite, but I love how the coloring turned out, so I wanted to use it anyways. So his coat is like a fur coat, and I think he looks very regal. And he's got a big bell on his hat. And of course, the greenery and the sprigs, the ginger and the candy cane and the heart. He's got mittens. They all have mittens. Most of them are green. I don't know why I think Santa needs to wear green mittens, but I do. And then he's got fur boots. So, but I think the coloring on him turned out really cool. I'm just not very happy with the embossed lines. So here I stamped the 25 medallion, and of course I stamped the text block in the background really lightly, so it actually looks like he's been stamped on really, really old, like newsprint. And then on the background piece of cardstock, I just stamped the Messy Ledger. So you can see it does all the work for you, and I love that. So, and they all got a good spritz of glitter, so hopefully you can see some of the sparkle, but if not, you should know that this whole desk is glittery. Merry Christmas on the inside, and then I stamped the star and signed my name, and this time I colored the star with colored pencil. So those are my cards I wanted to share with you with the release for today of these 3 sets. And again, when the stamp set with the coffee mug comes in, I will of course be making samples for you to see and sharing those with you too. But thank you so much for watching. Please go to the Whippersnapper Designs website if you'd like to place an order for these stamps. I know they're also available at the creativepals.com website as well. So if you have other online shopping that you want to do, Creative Pals is a great store for that as well. So again, here's Saint Nick, and here is my Cottabug. So I think they are so fun, and I hope you're inspired. I hope you love them as much as I do. I know I had so much fun making these cards and coloring up these images. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.